Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Cisneros, the GO Project Coordinator for the Oregon Developmental Disabilities Coalition. The Grassroots Oregon Project this year is putting together a series of videos, and I am happy to be joined today by Katie Rose. Katie is the chairperson for the Oregon Developmental Disabilities Coalition. And hi, Katie. And we are here to talk to you today about advocating via email. So this is one of our video series that we're doing for the 2021 legislative session. And so Katie, can you tell us what we need to think about when we're advocating via email with our state legislators?
Yes. So email has been an increasingly important tool for any advocate. But this year, with our virtual legislative session, no in-person visits, email is even more important, which means that your ability to write an email that a legislator will read from amongst the many thousands that they're probably getting is a really important tool.
Awesome. So you said really important to get people's attention when they're looking at emails. And I imagine that the subject line is really important. So including the topic and having some urgency around, please read this email. It's about something important. What might an example of that be?
It's a great question. I mean, an email has some specific components that you want to consider. You've got your subject line, you've got your introduction, you've got your message, and then you've got your conclusion. So the subject line, sometimes I compose that after I have done the rest of it to really know what I want someone to take away. But it should be a super short description of what you want a legislator to know from your email. So an example, I work with brokerages, and so many of my emails to legislators have to do with brokerage services. And I might say, fully fund case management support brokerages. It could say something, if I was writing to my legislator, I might even in the subject line say from a constituent. If I'm someone who lived in their district, I might call that out in the subject line even.
Oh, that's a really good idea, because I know that constituent emails and correspondence are super important for our legislators. They want to hear from people in their district. So that's a really great tip.
Absolutely.
Good. Can you tell us more about how to start your email, like what to say first?
Yeah. So when I'm writing the email, sometimes I want to jump right into my message, and I can kind of forget to introduce myself fully. But when you think about reading an email, especially one from someone that you've never met before, you need to know first, who am I talking to and why should I believe them? Why should I listen to this person? So having that full introduction that kind of locates you for them is really important. So, of course, you want to include your full name. If you're constituent, as we've said, identify that up front. So I might say, my name is Katie Rose, and I live in your district. And then I would say, I am an advocate for brokerage services. I work for the statewide association of the 14 support service brokerages. And that kind of locates me for the person, so they understand, oh, okay, she's writing to me as someone who works for the brokerages and for all of the brokerages. If I was a self-advocate, I would say that up front. I would say, this is my role. I'm a person who uses DD case management services. Or if I was a direct service provider, I would say that up front. So really you can think about, like, how am I connected to the topic that I'm writing about? And that will help a legislator understand, oh, okay, you're someone who uses these services. I want to know what you have to say about them. They're going to know right up front that they should listen to you.
Awesome. So then after you've introduced yourself and they know that you're important to read this email from, what do you do next? Like, do you just jump right into the topic, or do you kind of build up, or how do you do that?
That's a good question. So when I'm writing an email, I find that sometimes my message gets strongest by the time I'm done with it. So some of my best statements are my last statements. And so generally when I'm composing a message like that, an advocacy message, I will reread my paragraph where I've talked about what I want them to understand, and I will often move my last statement to the front. I will cut and paste it to the front because I realize that I want my strongest statement to go first. Now, we talked about how legislators really have so many emails coming to them and they've got very little time. So we want to support them understanding our message by keeping it pretty short and to getting to our point right up front.
Awesome.
So you want to make sure that that first statement is the very core of what you want a legislator to walk away with, right? So you can think of, what do I want a legislator to know after they've read my email? And you'll know where to start.
Awesome. That's a really great tip. I love that. And then how do you continue the email?
I really try to make sure that I'm covering one point or maybe two if they're related. I try not to go too far in a single email. You can also use our training on how to develop your message to help you a little bit with that. It's definitely something that takes some practice. So don't be afraid to write things out and do some editing before you hit send on an email. But if you can keep things short and on topic, you are ahead of the game in terms of email writing. And it's going to be something that your legislator is going to want to read. So make sure that even though you're probably gonna, put in some of your experiences that are, related to your point, make sure that everything you include does tie back to that essential message that you want them to take away with them. If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. So you're saying you want the email shouldn't be more than a page or two, or just a couple paragraphs. What do you recommend as far as length of the video?
I think that between
not the video. I'm sorry,
introduction,
the email.
the email, yeah. When you think about it, you'll have just a couple sentences for your introduction.
Mhm.
And I would say the message should be a paragraph, maybe two.
Okay.
And then, once you're done with that, you're gonna consider how you want to end the message as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And here we're talking about keeping things short and sweet as well. You do want to make sure you're including, you're including some kind of end statement. This can just be you finding a new way to reword your essential statement. If it fits with your message, this might be a call to action. You might say, I want you to do this thing. So a call to action might come from your goal bulletin. You might send out a goal bulletin to help you learn about some of the decisions that legislators are making about bills. And so you might say, please vote yes on House Bill 101. I'm making that up because the legislative session hasn't started yet.
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, like, oh no. But it might be a call to action like that. It might be a request for funding. Please fully fund case management, so my personal agent can be there for me when I need her. It can be something simple like that, but just make sure you're tying it back to, again, your core point.
Awesome.
As far as how you want to sign off, you can sign off with a traditional sincerely or a thank you. I personally try to avoid statements or sign-offs that might distract from my message. Do use your first and last name so that they, again, know who you are. Include, if you are a constituent, maybe your home address. A lot of times they do keep track of those things, and it gives you a little bit of credibility with them. They know, oh, this person really is. This is a constituent of mine, and it can sometimes be prioritized because legislators want to make sure that they're reflecting, the desires of the people who are voting for them, because that's who they're representing.
Awesome. So getting to know your legislator and building a relationship with them or their staff is as easy as sending an email. So that's really cool.
It is.
So
And
yeah,
I think, again, the more practice you have, the easier this form of advocacy becomes. It can feel intimidating, but once you've got your message, you really, this is a great way to reach out and share your experiences.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katie. You mentioned earlier that there are videos on how to create your message. The Oregon, as we mentioned, the Oregon Developmental Disabilities Coalition and the Grassroots Oregon Go Project are putting together the series of videos. We do have the one that you mentioned about how to create your message. We have why advocacy matters, how to schedule an appointment with the legislator, those kinds of things. So we're really excited for people to take a look at those. And we'll be having links available online through Facebook and also through our orddcoalition.org website. So we hope that our legislative session goes well. We wish everyone luck. Let us know how we can help. We also are going to be having some Go Project advocacy days online. So we're calling it Go Online. And we'll be able to help you with your messaging during those very interactive workshops that we'll be having throughout the session. So take a look on website and on Facebook for those scheduled events. Katie, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us how to advocate via email for the DD community. We appreciate it.
Thank you.